Hi, this is Kristen here. Welcome to another process video. And today I'm working on a layout for Color Rush Studio. And I decided to do mixed media. I know, I'm not a mixed media person, but I decided let's just have fun with it. And so you can see how the paper is kind of different colors. For some reason, I don't know why, I was not thinking clearly. I end up pulling out white cardstock to do this mixed media on and had prepped it with gesso. You can see where I've got like kind of like an outline, almost like a floral. And you'll see in a minute why it's like that. But anyways, I should have used Vicki Boutin's mixed media cardstock because it's a little bit thicker. Actually, this paper with the gesso on it actually did hold up pretty well and did not ripple and, crease as much as I thought it was going to be. So I am using alcohol ink here. I'm very new to alcohol ink. It is not something I use often. I used a lot of alcohol ink markers on like the cut file August challenges. But I hadn't really pulled out my alcohol inks much to really use on a layout so far. So I decided let's just play around, have fun, and not have any expectations for it since I'm new to it. And so these alcohol inks are actually inks that I had just bought off of Amazon. They were kind of a cheapy pack. And really, because I really want to try out some of the Tim Holtz ones, but I was really just trying to make sure, like, I didn't want to invest a ton of money in this and it end up being just, not my jam. So anyway, and of course I did get the alcohol blending solution. That is from Ranger Ink. So that kind of helps kind of make the color look a little bit more marbly. It kind of lifts the color off a little bit. So that's how I get kind of that more marbled effect on there. And then the little squeeze thing that I'm using, that is from Ranger Ink. So that just kind of helps, spray the solution around on the page. And when you're working with alcohol inks, they will dye everything. They will dye your hands. They will make sure you're on a glass mat. They will dye everything. Make sure you've got clothes on that you don't care if it kind of gets in your clothes. Now, isopropyl alcohol will take some of it up, but you just kind of want to be careful with it. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing the alcohol inks on, that you've got it prepped pretty well with gesso. And you'll see here in a little bit when I flip the page over, it was kind of like blending off of the area where I had it gessoed, and it does bleed through to the back, although it ends up not being a problem. And so I cannot tell you what any of these colors are. They are a mix of whatever that package is. If you want the link to the alcohol inks I bought off of Amazon, I can, of course, message you back and give you the link if you're interested. But I just searched for one that had decent reviews, and that's what I got. So my daughter was actually sitting there helping me. She was like picking out the colors. Like, I want this color now. So that's the reason why the colors are in the order that they're in, because she was picking them, and that's the order she wanted them in, and she was super fascinated with the process. So, and that's why the camera's kind of off kilter, because I had her sitting in my little chair that I usually sit and scrapbook in. So I kind of was off to the side trying to work on this. And so now I have gotten her interested in painting her own thing. So I finally was able to get the camera centered and then get back in my chair. So now I had this stencil. So the stencil I bought off of Amazon as well. It kind of looks like, I don't know, I was trying to kind of go for like a tie-dye look, but I was trying to do a tone on tone. And so I pull in different inks. Some of it shows up really well on some of the alcohol ink pieces I was putting on. Some of it doesn't. So I kind of was like just mixing and mashing stuff together. So the first color I was using there was Strawberry Pie, and that's a 49 in Market. This one is Summer Sky, but you could hardly see it, so on this blue. So I end up pulling out Distress Oxide, and this is in Broken China. And I think I was probably cleaning off my hand, or my daughter was like showing me something that she had painted, so. And I'm not sure what color I'm going back in here with that one. That is a Distress ink or Distress Oxide. I don't know. It might be in Campfire Red or maybe Berry something. This is in Daffodil, so that's 49 and Market ink. And I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that a little bit. And some of it was like, if you turned it in different lights, you could really see it. But sometimes like straight on, the camera really wasn't picking it up. Or even your eye visibly really wasn't picking it up. But then you'd like change the angle of how you were looking at it and you could see. So this might be Campfire Red or something to that effect. And I don't have them all written down. Honestly, I wasn't really keeping track. I was just trying to pick out ones that I thought would maybe work, and then if they didn't, go back in with different ones. So this actually might be the Campfire Red here, actually, now that I think about it, because that's a little bit more of an orangey color. And then so the yellow one, actually, that I think that was Scattered Straw Distress Oxide, not Daffodil by 49 Market. I might have tried to use the 49 Market and it didn't really show up there. So I kind of felt that the Distress Oxides were doing a better job of kind of popping. But they were also like, I feel like lighter colors, whereas the 49 Market colors like were a closer match color-wise to those inks. So. This one I think was Green Jean by 49 and Market. Is this one. And then I think I went in with Shabby Shutters with Distress Oxide because I think the Green Jean didn't show up very well there. So I kind of wanted to show you, like, you know, kind of my process there. That's why that's a little bit longer. I usually would have cut away from this, but just to show you, like, if you're doing mixed media, don't have any expectations. Like, sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. And as you can see with this one, like, there were a lot of inks that I was trying to put over the top of this. It just was not, they weren't showing up. And so I was going back in with some different ones. I'm not sure what this color is that I was going in with here. I don't know if that's, I wouldn't think that was Broken China again. Oh, that might be Cracked Pistachio, now that I think about it. So one thing about Distress Oxides, the pigmentation in it is so bright that it, like, you know, and I know, like, there's difference between Distress inks and Distress Oxides. I think Distress Oxides are the ones that are more, they're more geared to, like, sitting on top of and covering up whatever you're putting it on, whereas Distress inks, I think, are supposed to be a little bit more where they don't fully cover. So you'll notice, like, with Distress Oxide, it's just so pigmented, and the color coverage with it is so complete with those, that it really, a little bit of Distress Oxide goes a long way. And so here is the reason why I had that scalloped. So I had picked out, these were on one of the papers that came in the Color Rush Studio kit. So it, I don't remember what the rest of the paper looked like, but it had these circles on it kind of going down one side of the page. And so as soon as I saw that, I wanted to fussy cut those circles out and make kind of a wreath with them. So that's what I'm doing here, is making a wreath. And I had already set that out before I even, you know, had went and measured that out, make sure I had enough circles to go around this picture before I even started doing the mixed media, because I wanted to make sure I had enough circles. So and the picture, I actually printed off it as an 8x10. Of course, I cut it down, you know, to fit a circle, and it's of my 3 kiddos. So they look very loving and, you know, very happy there, but it was mostly my younger son had hit my older son. I don't know, like, slapped him or something, you know, siblings fight. And so we were a little upset with him, and of course it had hurt my oldest son's feelings. And so, you know, we told him, like, go and apologize to your brother and make up. And so that's kind of what this is all about. So it looks like a happy family, but it was like, you can see my middle son's like, I guess I'll apologize, you know. my oldest son, he's really a good sport about, really the younger siblings kind of, I don't know, they can get away with quite a bit with him because he's such a sensitive guy that he will deal with a lot of their moods and things. So I'm just going around and using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to glue down those pieces. And I decided I wanted to back or have a border of black because around the circles is a black line. So I just felt like that would kind of help to, pull some of that black in. Plus, on top of that, I like to do that with my mixed media. I feel like it makes the page look more complete, and I feel like too, like with mixed media, a lot of time your paper will get a little warped. I have a laminator that sometimes if it warps enough, I will put it through the laminator. With this, I ended up, once I got done with the mixed media, I did end up putting glass over it just to get it to, actually, I think I do this at the end here. Like once I get this adhered onto, I mean, really it stayed pretty flat. Like it didn't have like a lot of rippling to it. So you can see where how the alcohol ink had came through where I didn't have the gesso. So, and that's what it will do. It'll bleed through. So anyways, a lot of time I will use border paper or, backing paper just to kind of help keep the paper from being wavy or to kind of fix that. So either get yourself a good laminator or, a glass, something glass that you can put over it, because oftentimes you can get it to lay pretty flat. And you can see here that I was kind of like, oh, it's kind of like one to kind of bubble up a little bit. It was still pretty flat, but, And I roughed up the edges since I ended up cutting like an inch off from each side. And so I roughed that up a little bit because I didn't really want any of the white left over on the ends from like where the alcohol ink hadn't gotten to it. So, and then I'm going to pull in some ephemera pieces from the kit. I don't know if I fussy cut that pink star out of one of the other papers. I probably did. Same with that orange star. I think maybe one or two of the smiley faces I had fussy cut out. Some of the other ones were ones that came in the die cut ephemera. And then these little labels have, they have kind of like a glittery holographic look to them. And the one on the bottom says create your life. And then the top one says create every day. Little butterflies also came in the die cut ephemera pack. And again, when you're doing mixed media, make sure you use some kind of wet glue, like your tape runner or, just regular adhesive. It won't stick. It might stick for a little bit, but and then I decided to make my title, You Color My World. I just felt like that would kind of tie in the fact that I used mixed media on this and kind of that bright, vibrant colors. And then I just felt like that would kind of anchor that, kind of make the mixed media and that make more sense. So I'm trying to dip my toes a little bit more into mixed media. It's not something I'm super comfortable with, and this is the first time I had prepped cardstock another time with the plan to use alcohol ink, and it didn't go very well. So I was a little like, you know what, let's just try it out, and I felt like if the mixed media didn't go well, then I obviously would have kind of changed direction and done something a little bit different. So here is a close-up shot, and I will include the link down below for the Color Rush kits if you want to go pick some up, or just go check them out and see what you like. There's also other things in the shop there too that you can get, and I appreciate you for coming by to watch another process video.